AEW successful? Why is Tony Khan running his promotion better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are running Monday night and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel once again today. Unfortunately, I got a little bit of extra for you. It is April 30th, 2022. I'm JD from New York, as always, coming to you live from the OTS venue. Thank you guys for joining me on your Saturday afternoons, wherever you may be. I wanted to talk about this today, and I wanted to get this out there for you guys before I actually go live with Off the Script on episode 429 Sunday. WWE is in the process of releasing more talent, and you just feel it happening. The talent budget cuts are going to be happening, and it's going to be happening all across WWE. Friday, unfortunately, NXT was targeted first. I'm not surprised that NXT was targeted at all, and I'm not surprised that these budget cuts are now coming. This is WWE citing budget cuts for Wall Street and the stockholders, and WWE needs to make their numbers look good and numbers look better than ever because they touted all these major numbers going into WrestleMania. So the next time that we get these quarterly conference calls in the next quarter, WWE needs to amp up their numbers for WrestleMania season. So I'm not surprised by this whatsoever that we're seeing this now. Unfortunately, Friday at NXT, there were half of the people on this list that I didn't understand. As always with these budget cuts, the list, some of these names just stand out, and we all collectively ask ourselves, why? Why are these names on this list? How could you do this to him? How could you do this to her? How couldn't you find anything for this person on TV? Or how couldn't you book this person better? The other names on this list, outside of Draco Anthony, who's been on WWE TV, he's been mixing it up with Zion Quinn. If these names are foreign to you and you don't watch NXT anymore since the death of the Black and Gold, I don't really find that to be surprising. The show sucks. Draco Anthony's on there. The other names on this list, I mean, I don't really care for. I don't know who they are. I don't care to know who they are. I don't care to really put them in the video to show you guys who they are. I don't care. So if I don't care, I know you guys don't care. The only names we're going to talk about here today are the main people that have been on TV. Dakota Kai, Dexter Lumis, Malcom Bivens, Harland, Persia Perota, Draco Anthony's been on TV, but he's a relative noob. Sanjana George, Raylan Divine, Mila Milan, and Blair Baldwin. Don't know who they are. Don't care to know who they are. These are the names that have been released by WWE. I've been claiming that budget cuts are coming, and they're coming soon. They're going to eventually hit the main roster. This is a foregone conclusion. I've been naming people on the main roster as well. Mace, Shotzi, Xia Li, Dijak, and everybody else that's not being used on TV. Finn Balor even. Finn Balor is in discussion to be released. That's how I feel about the situation. These names are out there not being used, and WWE is going to be cutting budget. It first hit NXT. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it. I went out to lunch on Friday afternoon. I came back. I wanted to nap before SmackDown because I knew it was going to be a long, arduous evening watching SmackDown. Came home and my phone was blowing up. Did you hear about the releases? I'm like, holy shit. So I go online. Sapp is talking about it. PW Inside and Meltzer, Alvarez. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's reporting it. These are the names that it's fortunately ended with. It was only 10. It was only 10. John Laurinaitis, who's been in the news for one reason or another, and not in good ways, made the phone calls, obviously. People power. We got to let you go. It's not you. It's budget cuts. You know, he's got the job of letting everybody know that everybody's getting released. Fightful is reporting the reason why everybody was released. John Laurinaitis made these calls, and everybody is under a non-compete deal for 30 days, being that it is NXT. Obviously, you guys know 30 days NXT, 90-day the main roster. John Laurinaitis made the budget cut calls and cited budget cuts as the reason. The email internally read, due to budget cut reasons, with immediate effect as of today, 4/29/2022, we have come to terms to the release of the following. They cited all of these individuals have 30-day non-compete clauses. Let's start with Malcom Bivens. Malcom Bivens, he was on TV. He was in Diamond Mine. Roderick Strong, the Creed brothers, Ivy Nile. They put Roderick Strong and this new group of people together when all of the Undisputed Era went to AEW television. Roddy was the only one of the four that remained in NXT against his will, I'm sure. He's probably jealous that all his friends over there in AEW are having a fucking grand old time on Dynamite, doing big things with Forbidden Door and New Japan. Life is good for the Undisputed Elite. Roderick Strong is in NXT, and pairing him with Malcom Bivens was actually a great idea. Malcom Bivens, Stokely Hathaway, has been a gem on NXT television. One of the better parts of the show. I think his presence is great. I think his speaking ability, his cadence, his character, him as a manager has been great. WWE, at the end of the day, doesn't focus on managers, especially male managers. They're not going to focus on bringing Stokely Hathaway to the main roster, Malcom Bivens to the main roster, though I think he would have fit in perfectly on the main roster with basically anybody you wanted to pair him with. I don't know how you don't find something for this man to do. I don't. And then the news came out that it was him that did not want to stay and re-sign with WWE. He was actually offered a new contract, says Sapp and Fightful Select. They offered Malcom Bivens a new contract, and he made it clear that he didn't want to re-sign with the company. He initially did the same thing last year, but he eventually re-signed with the company when the idea was pitched to him of Diamond Mine, because they weren't doing anything with him at that time anyway. So they're like, we want to keep you. Let's talk about what we could do with you. They pitched Diamond Mine. He ended up resigning. He ended up staying. So now, this year, it's a completely different story. Diamond Mine is now without a mouthpiece in Malcom Bivens, and this may be the death of Diamond Mine. Ivy Nile needs a mouthpiece. Roddy needs a mouthpiece. The Creeds need a mouthpiece. They need a figure in that spot, unless they have somebody in place to replace him. I don't know who. Diamond Mine may be dead, to be perfectly honest with you. He did not sign with the company, and the latest offer was a new contract that came in February. He told them back in February he was not going to resign, so they let him go. Obviously, they let him go instead of having his contract run out where he doesn't need a 30-day. WWE said, fuck you, we're going to release you, and now you have an additional 30 days just to spite him, so he can't go anywhere in the next 30 days. Fightful Select also says Dakota Kai was offered a new contract. She told them that she did not plan on signing a new contract if offered one, and WWE let her go as well. So Malcom Bivens and Dakota Kai did not want to be in NXT. Not a surprising reason why. The landscape has changed. Everybody that has been there under the Triple H regime is now gone for the most part. And those that have remained from Triple H's regime have seen the changes. They're not with the changes. The show doesn't feel the same. The brand doesn't feel the same. I'm sure the backstage environment doesn't feel the same. And they opted to leave. When Mandy Rose is the NXT Women's Champion and John Laurinaitis wants to focus on divas and bringing back the divas era, and he wants to model all the women after Mandy Rose and Gigi Dolan and Toxic Attraction, and he wants that as far as women's wrestling, can you see Dakota Kai saying, yes, I'd like to stay and make myself look into a grade A slut? No. I don't want that. I don't want to be that. I don't think my character deserves that or needs that. I want to come here and do what we all set out to do, and that is make women's wrestling a great thing. Women's wrestling in WWE has taken a grade A shit on the Revolution. Everything that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon created with NXT and the Women's Revolution and how it bled into the main roster, you are now slowly realizing that it was all a political agenda. It needed to be followed because everybody was making a big stink coming out of the Divas era. They wanted to silence everybody that wanted more women's wrestling. Otherwise, they'd complain on social media. And now look at where we are. They're slowly transitioning everything back into the Divas era. Slowly but surely. 2-minute matches, 90-second matches on the main roster. I can't remember a time where women's wrestling was this bad in this time frame. This is the worst it's ever been. And the talent that's been in that company for the last 6 or 7 years is tremendous. It's not like they don't have the talent. They've let so much talent go, but the talent that still remains, there's a lot to do with there. And they just don't want to do anything with them. How you have something in your possession like the talents of Dakota Kai and you don't bring her to the main roster and you don't find value in her and wanting her to be on your television show, giving her something to really sink her teeth into. This woman wasted how many years of her career going back and forth like a ping pong ball under the Triple H regime and now Bruce Pritchard's regime. You see how much has changed. And you're going to drive somebody like that away. Meanwhile, you have the power to put this woman in a prominent role because of how great she is. And she's fairly attractive. Not like she's an ugly woman on television or an unattractive woman on television. You have everything you want in this woman. Beautiful. In the ring, she knows how to go. She can talk. And you let her willingly go because you're changing your ideologies on what you want women's wrestling to be, and you want to go back to a day and age that nobody cares to fucking remember. It's absolutely disgusting. And I will be going over this with Ember Moon and her interview with Chris Van Vliet on Sunday's episode live of Off the Script. Disgusting. She exposed them more so than anybody has in recent memory. So Malcom Bivens and Dakota Kai, gone. Don't know why, don't know how. Two talents there that will be a fine piece to any division or any show that they land on. Dakota Kai, Malcom Bivens gone. Harland. Parker Boudreaux. Everybody was wondering why Parker Boudreaux, Harland, wasn't with Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy has been without his monster behind him. Parker Boudreaux was signed to WWE after a lot of hype, but coaches and officials did not feel that he made enough in-ring progress at a fast enough rate. So the man got married recently. 2 weeks ago, I believe he got married. Might have went on his honeymoon after that. I don't know. I don't really pry into people's personal lives. But he got married. It was on social media. He might have or probably went on his honeymoon. I would assume that's what people do, right? After they get married, they go on a honeymoon, nice vacation somewhere, celebrate, do what they got to do. He was ultimately let go in this down period where he had this momentous occasion happen in his personal life and was never brought back to television. People were asking, well, where's Harland with Joe Gacy? Joe Gacy's challenging Braun Breaker for the NXT championship at spring breaking on Wednesday. They have this big thing going on. He captured Rick Steiner. He kidnapped Rick Steiner. He's doing all this cult-like shit, druids, all this creepy, dark shit by Joe Gacy. Harland was not there. Harland has not been there. Joe Gacy needs somebody like Harland. Joe Gacy needs backup. Otherwise, the Joe Gacy character is going to be very one-dimensional, and he's not going to have anybody to feed off of him. Joe Gacy right now, to me, is a bargain basement, Dollar Tree, great value Bray Wyatt. He isn't doing anything that's breaking any boundaries, and everybody that's done this same shtick before him has done it a lot better than Joe Gacy is doing right now. But I will give Joe Gacy credit on a shit show. He's probably a standout act, and that's not really saying much. It is a mid-level act on a shit show, and he stands out not for the right reasons. This is a gimmick that's been done to death, and they're having him go through the trenches, reenacting the same shit that we've seen with 1,000 other gimmicks before it. Harland actually made it different. So WWE let him go. Cited as the next Brock Lesnar, baby Brock. Paul Heyman was incredibly high on him. Jim Ross has made it no secret that he's high on Parker Boudreaux. They let him go. They let him go. This one was probably the most mind-numbingly stupid release of them all. Because not only did WWE not give him a chance, but this obviously, to me, and I hope to you guys, because you people that listen to me, most of you have logical fucking standpoints on the product like I do. Parker Boudreaux being released exposed WWE for the hiring process that they now are going through and got rid of Triple H's methods. The NIL program is going to be proven and exposed as a fucking waste. That's the way I see it. Now, what do I mean by that? Parker Boudreaux was signed out of college. He played football, right? Parker Boudreaux joined WWE as one of these next-in-line athletes. WWE's hiring process is now collegiate athletes, cheerleaders, WNBA, Olympic athletes. They want everybody but independent pro wrestlers. They don't want independent pro wrestlers anymore. They want people that they can train and mold to know only one thing, and one thing only when it comes to wrestling, sports entertainment, and that is the WWE way. They don't want you to be a 15-year veteran on the indies, come into WWE, know everything or think you know everything, and then they have to retrain you. WWE feels like that's a waste of time. They're not going to go out there and do that. Plus, most of the guys, they already made a name for themselves on the indies. WWE feels like that they want to build somebody up from the ground up and make it their own. They don't want to take somebody that has all these accolades, bring them on into WWE, and then build upon that. If you didn't do it in their walls, they don't give a shit. They try and erase all that shit the moment you get there. That's why guys like Keith Lee and Adam Cole didn't work out, and all these other people, Aleister Black and Andrade, they didn't work out. They were much better where they came from than when they were in WWE. They don't care about any of that stuff. The NIL program is WWE's new way of finding the next Rock, the next Brock, the next Stone Cold, the next Kurt Angle, the next anybody. They don't want to go out to the independent scene and bring in somebody with all these years of experience because it's the Triple H way, and that was one of the things that they wanted to erase. So you bring in a guy like Parker Boudreaux, who's cited as the next Brock Lesnar, baby Brock. He's got this menacing look. He's fucking huge. He's got tattoos everywhere. Everybody was so high on him. Parker Boudreaux has 800,000 followers on Instagram. He's got connections all over the place. Major brands, rappers, hip-hop moguls, everything. He branched out into different aspects of culture like you wouldn't believe for somebody his age. He had more upside than anybody that was on that brand on Tuesday night. What did WWE do? They never embraced it. They gave this guy a death warrant before he even made TV. They shaved his head. They made him into the next fucking Nails. If you guys remember Nails feuding with the Big Boss Man back in the early era of WWF when the Big Boss Man was there. You're going to mimic somebody after a modern day Nails. You're automatically nailing his coffin shut, and you might as well bury that motherfucker straight to the fucking ground. That's not what Parker Boudreaux was brought in to do. This guy was brought in to create a presence for himself that was going to get WWE noticed in all these different aspects that he was ingrained in. They didn't do any of that. They made him into a joke. He played his role fine with Harland and Joe Gacy, the whole act of Harland and Joe Gacy. He played his role there, but it was very one-sided. They did not embrace who he was. And I find that very weird and very difficult to believe that he was let go because he wasn't progressing fast enough in the performance center in the ring. He's 22 years old. What's the fucking rush? And this goes back to what WWE said. There was a report that WWE is going to give people 6-month trial basis. If you don't cut it after 6 months, they're either going to keep you on if you're progressing, and if you're not progressing, they're going to let you go. Parker Boudreaux falls right into that fucking line of thinking with WWE. He hit the threshold. He wasn't progressing. They made a decision. They let him go. But why? For somebody so young and with so much upside and with everybody knocking on this guy's door, hyping him up and finding major potential in them, what makes WWE not find any major potential in Parker Boudreaux? So what does this do? This is the one situation, to me, like I said, that's a head scratcher. What does this do? Now, I don't know if he wants to continue to wrestle. I don't know if he wants to continue to wrestle. I don't know if he wants to go back out there and do something in music or play another professional sport. I don't know what he wants to do. But say, Theoretically, this man wants to continue to wrestle and build upon what he's really made into his life now. So he's out there on the independent scene. Somebody's going to pick him up. Somebody's going to find major star potential in him. Somebody's going to work with him and make him into something that everybody thinks he could be, right? He's going to go out on the independent circuit. That's going to make him an independent wrestler. So he's going to be an independent wrestler. He's going to join Ring of Honor or AEW or whatnot. He may be coerced into signing with AEW because Jim Ross is high on him. He may be made into the face of Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is the old NXT. It's going to be the old NXT. They're going to take him and they're going to mold him into a fucking monster over there and make him into what everybody thinks he could be with the potential that he has. He's going to be on the indies. So that makes him an independent pro wrestler. Then when WWE thinks, well, we want this guy back. Look at what he's turned into. We didn't really give him the time of day. Now we want him. Now you're going to take him off the independent circuit, and he's going to be an independent pro wrestler. It automatically nixes and cancels out the NIL program that you guys have in place right now to go find the next in-line athlete, the next in-line superstar to make into the next Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Stone Cold, The Rock, what have you. He started out as an NIL program athlete, and then they let him go, and now he's going to the indies. Now he's an independent professional wrestler if he wants to continue wrestling. So what's the use of the NIL program? What good is the NIL program if you're going to let guys like this go? Now, I never understood the NIL program mentality. Everybody's telling this is how WWE is going to find their next major superstar, the next household names. Everybody's talking about this NIL program. This is how they're going to find their next, household names that's going to gravitate to ESPN and headline WrestleMania. Do you realize that 99.9% of these NIL collegiate athletes that you bring into the company, maybe 0.0001% make it to television? You honestly think you're gonna find the next not Braun Breaker. He's going to be on TV regardless. I don't know if he was a part of the NIL program. He did play football. But do you realize how difficult it's going to be to find the next Brock Lesnar or the next Stone Cold or the next WrestleMania main event? We don't even know how Gable Stevenson's going to fucking work in the ring. This guy could be a complete fucking failure. He could bomb on his first night. We don't know how he's going to be. But WWE's putting all their eggs in the Gable Steveson basket. I don't know. I don't know what's so big about him. I mean, you think he's going to turn into the next Kurt Angle? That's what WWE thinks. But how many people possess the skill that Kurt Angle possesses? How many people have the charisma and the comedic timing of Kurt Angle? Not many. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You're going to find lightning in a bottle once, maybe. To find that again like that, going to be a very difficult thing to do. 1% of these people, less than that, are going to come out of this and be your next WrestleMania headlining act. Parker Boudreaux could have been that, but you never gave him the opportunity because he didn't progress fast enough at the rate that you wanted him to. He had how many matches on TV? I don't know what the fuck he did in training. But outside that, everything else that this man possessed and could give the company, you found that to be invaluable, right? And WWE let him go because, the one thing that we now care about is his in-ring progress. What makes that the end-all, be-all? There are people on NXT TV that don't belong there. How worse can he be compared to a Lash Legend? How worse can he be compared to an Omos? He must have been pretty fucking bad if they let his in-ring fucking talent take over the entire reason of why he got fired. But this NIL program is already proving to be a crock of shit. He's going to be an indie wrestler, and he will be known as an indie wrestler. He's not going to be known as an NIL fucking athlete that got released by WWE. He's not going to be an NIL athlete that signs to another wrestling promotion. He's going to be an independent pro wrestler, which defeats the purpose of the NIL program because when or if he comes back to the WWE, he'll be known as a pro wrestler. It's fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't understand that release. I don't. According to a report also from Fightful, one NXT official contacted Fightful and expressed frustration that these releases will affect multiple storylines, acts, angles with little to no notice or preparation. Reportedly, one NXT official expressed frustration given the short notices of the departures. Fightful Select has spoken to several of the released talents and notes that they all seem to be in good spirits considering the circumstances. WWE had Parker Boudreaux with Joe Gacy. WWE had Malcom Bivens managing 4 different individuals on TV. The Creeds are probably going to end up beating Pretty Deadly for the tag team championships. Then you got Dakota Kai. She was just in the tag team title hunt with Raquel Gonzalez before they moved her up to the main roster, changed her name to Raquel Rodriguez. She's been feuding with, fucking Toxic Attraction. She's been in a bunch of different shit. No real direction. You could have just felt that she was getting released. You just could have watched the show and said, I don't feel like Dakota Kai is going to be here that much longer. I didn't even know of her contract status. I didn't even know she wanted out. I just felt like she was going to get released anyway. Persia Pirotta is another one. People are making a big deal about Persia Pirotta getting released because she was the girlfriend on screen of Duke Hudson, and she's been mixing up with Indy Hartwell as a tag team. They were best friends. They had Index going on with Dexter Lumis. I'll get to him in a second. Dexter Lumis was also released. He played a part in Indy Hartwell's, story on television. Duke Hudson had Persia Pirotta. Now, Duke Hudson is the only one that remains with Indy Hartwell. How do you write that? These are the people I feel bad for because they have to go and write television for Tuesday, and they got handed this shit on a Friday, and they were probably already writing for Tuesday before these releases happened, thinking that everybody was going to still be there on Tuesday. Those are the people I feel bad for. Those are the people I feel bad for. These people that got released, they'll be fine. All these people that got released today, they will be fine. The story writers, the writers, the creative team, whoever the fuck they are, that answers to Bruce Pritchard. He don't give a fuck. Those people I feel sorry for. Whoever they have in charge writing these shows, those are the people I feel sorry for. Persia Pirotta. She's done nothing. She was awful in the ring. She didn't add any value to the women's division. She was somebody that I didn't even realize was in the Performance Center when I seen her on TV. She did not progress. That's somebody that did not progress to me. Parker Boudreaux did not progress, but Persia Pirotta was on TV. Lash Legend is on TV. How that woman made it out of the Performance Center and made it to TV, we didn't even know who the fuck she was. We got no video package. She just showed up on TV. NXT 2.0 was relaunched. There she is. Who the fuck is she? Who is she? She had no fanfare, no presence online, no value to the women's division of the company. She got released. Good. Cut your dead weight. Cut your dead weight. So what's the big deal about Persia Pirotta? She's in a storyline. Now they got to rewrite the storyline. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Storyline was shit anyway. You go to a stand and deliver show and you have a fucking fashion contest with your boyfriend, Indy Hartwell, and Dexter Lumis. That's the extent of her storyline on television. To me, good. She's gone. No value at all. Dexter Lumis. He was let go. Dexter Lumis was let go. Why? I don't know. Dexter Lumis was probably the best pro wrestler on this entire list of people that got released, and he was let go. He was somebody that started off really fucking interesting, man. The creepy vibes that he gave, the heel character he played. I don't know how you don't find something for that character and that man to do. You know, you could talk about your creepy characters. You could talk about your fucking serial killer-like fucking storylines and characters and all that shit that you want to bring to WWE TV. This man possessed body language, facial expressions, and in-ring ability that was on par with anybody on that brand and could have easily transcended and transitioned to the main roster with everything that he did. The gimmick, the music, the vibe, the in-ring skill. Dexter Lumis took a lot from Randy Orton and the psychology of Randy Orton, the methodical fucking Randy Orton vibes that he gave in the ring. He was very Undertaker-esque as well. You could see those vibes in his work and what he did. How you don't realize that and how you don't bring that out and knowingly, you know, seeing that on the main on NXT and don't bring that to the main roster. I don't get it. I don't understand it. How do you find anything for Dexter Lumis to do? Then they made him into a comedy geek. They paired him with Gargano. They paired him with Indy, right? The whole Gargano thing was all right because I love Johnny. But, I mean, it deviated away so far from what Triple H did with the creepy stalker fucking, you know, serial killer vibe. And then they just paired him with Indy Hartwell on The Wedding and all this other cringe shit that you'd normally see on the main roster. Why? Why? WWE ran that character into the fucking ground. They gave him shit that he couldn't battle back from. And at the end of the day, all they saw in him was somebody that they saw hit a ceiling and they couldn't do anything with. Instead of be creative and give him an outlet or move him to the main roster and go back to what they did with Triple H, no, that's too much work. They figured this guy hit his ceiling. There's nothing more we can do. We're better off letting him go. And now he's a free agent, and now he's got 30 days. I don't understand it. He had everything you wanted. Great look, body language, facial expressions. The theme music fit the fucking look and the character. Very good in-ring. You mean to tell me you couldn't find anything to do for the character of Dexter Lumis on the main roster? That one was another mind-boggling one. Dakota Kai, obviously, we talked about that. How you have a women's division right now that sucks so badly and you can't find a role for Dakota Kai on the main roster. She worked dark matches. She worked several dark matches, and WWE never gave her the nod to get called up to the main roster. Dexter Lumis, Dakota Kai, Malcom Bivens, Harland. I don't get it. I really don't understand these moves. And WWE is citing budget cuts. Dexter Lumis, a Triple H guy. Dakota Kai, Triple H guy. Malcom Bivens, a Triple H guy. More Triple H talent released. More Triple H talent released. At the end of the day, this is not going to be it. There will be more, whether it's NXT or the main roster. I just have a feeling in my bones that the main roster is getting their side of the budget cuts very, very soon. And when it happens, none of you should be surprised. None of you. NXT is still in this weird transitional phase. And nothing sticks on that show. Nothing sticks as interesting. There's no reason to get excited about anything that's happening on this show because of the mentality that the management now has in NXT. You could be there one week and gone the next. Then people wonder why I shit on the fucking show and why I hate the goddamn fucking show on Tuesday night and why nobody's watching the show and why I don't want to do the review. You cannot invest your time in these fucking people if they have no future waiting for them inside the walls of WWE. Now we have to worry about everybody that's in the Performance Center that eventually makes it to television. If they're not good enough, they might not be there. The following Tuesday, we continue to watch the show. So why are we going to invest in these people if WWE is not going to invest in somebody on their own accord like a Parker Boudreaux? This is why NXT is dead. And I love the fact that Parker Boudreaux is an NIL collegiate athlete that was brought into the company with major hype around him, and that Nick Khan and Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon and all these other fucking E-drones and shills want to hype up the NIL program as being some fucking godsend to the company, and WWE is going to be better off for it in the future. All WWE did was expose that the entire program is a fucking farce, and the way Triple H continued to do things while he was still there was the best method of bringing in talent. WWE did not want that way because they hate professional wrestling. WWE didn't want that way because they wanted to erase everything that Triple H did that was good. And they wanted to find their own way. This is the way it's got to be done. The Nick Khan way, the Vince McMahon way. Triple H's way is pro wrestling. We're going to find the next household names. Meanwhile, how many household names did they let go? How many household names did they cut that could have been perennial WrestleMania main event stars for years to come? You think this company knows talent? This company doesn't know shit. The only thing that this company knows is money. When they look at a certain talent, all they see is money. They don't see the talent that the talent possesses. They don't see the skills that the talent could possess. All they see is dollar signs. There's so much more to this business than dollar signs. You have to have a love and a passion and a desire for pro wrestling. WWE doesn't have any of these things. All they have is dollar signs in their eyes when they see every single person that is a part of this NIL program. It is a fucking farce. It is complete bullshit. And that release of Parker Boudreaux exposed the NIL program for being bullshit. How he was let go again, I don't know. Dexter Lumis is another one. Dakota Kai, shameful. Shameful how you don't have anything for this woman to do. You're a professional wrestling company with some of the best women's talent in the world, and someone like that's been on the fucking back burner for how long? and then she's let go. Malcom Bivens is another one. We already talked about Malcom Bivens on the SmackDown post show. He could end up in AEW. He would be perfect for Jade Cargill. Mark Sterling could go manage Tony Nese and his own group of fucking people. She could dump Mark Sterling. Malcom Bivens can come right on. Stokely Hathaway can come right on. And you don't think that would be a perfect fucking fit for Jade Cargill? And the baddies? Put him with Red Velvet. Put him with Kiera Hogan. Put him with that group. Give him his own little group of women to fucking manage. AEW's game here. Every time this happens, it's WWE's loss in AEW's game. At the end of the day, folks, these releases, they were going to happen. At the end of the day, these people, though surprising, like a Lumis and a Kai and Parker Boudreaux, it will be somebody's game. Well, it's Impact, AEW. They are all better off. Malcom Bivens and Dakota Kai didn't even want to be there, so fine. There's no reason to feel sorry for them. They did not want to be there. They knew that their time was up. We should all rejoice in this, because the talents of these people will go somewhere else and be used properly. WWE will continue to cut. We will continue to criticize. We will continue to wonder why and ask questions. How, why this, why that. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, man, this is not the end. This is not the end. They could decide budget cuts all they want. WWE has exposed themselves for being the laziest and the most uncreative group of people that the pro wrestling scene has ever seen. This decade and well before that as well, but this decade especially. Awful. But an awful decision. They do not appreciate talent. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all of your support on this video. Let me know what you think down below. Who was the most shocking to you? Your OTS homework tonight in the comment section. Who was the most shocking to you? And where would you like to see Dakota Kai, Dexter Lumis, Parker Boudreaux, and Malcom Bivens end up going? Where would you like to see them go next if they stay in the pro wrestling business, especially somebody like Parker Boudreaux? Let me know what you guys think. Sound off in the comments below. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum. Follow me on social media, @JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for notifications. And make sure you guys go check out all the other content on the channel that you might have missed this week. I will be live tomorrow with episode 429 of the podcast, man. Tons to go over, including that major Becky Lynch story and Ember Moon exposing WWE for their bullshit. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you for a great week. And I'll see you live tomorrow in the venue for OTS 429.